Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm told this is the post-lunch session and the last most difficult one that is brought you back from lunch and one that is holding you back from going home. I've been given a topic which is, a slightly tricky one, growth strategies for practice, and to an audience who's more experienced than me. But let me start with a disclaimer. You know, strategy for growing is not an exact science. So there is no exact correct way of doing it. I will be sharing a few things which we as a firm did. When we started the firm, we were about 6 people, starting from 100 square feet office uh, to about 10,000 people across India, with offices in 13 cities across India. So the journey was great, fantastic. So I've tried to summarize few of the learnings through the journey, and that's what I will share with all of you. I'm sure there could be various approaches, different strategies, and different thought process for growth. Uh, Happy to learn from you all. Please do feel free to intervene, suggest, or if you would like to ask something, happy to also answer based on my best ability. Before I begin, uh, this is way long ago. When I was fresh chartered accountant, I gathered a hobby of gardening, and initially we brought ready flower pots, and I watered them, and they grew well. So I thought to myself that okay, I'm a reasonable gardener. Maybe I can be better and I can be good. Let me try farming some vegetables. So I planted some soil. I planted some vegetable seeds in that. Them diligently. I also started to talk to them. Now, don't judge me here. It's said that you can talk to plants and they respond back. Uh, so I started talking to them. Uh, After a few weeks, all I had were sad-looking sprouts. So one of my neighbors, an expert gardener, he said, "Beta, I like your enthusiasm, uh, but it is not only enthusiasm that is required, knowledge and knowledge to the right direction is required. You have to put it to the right temperature, get it the right soil, get the right sun. And each vegetable requires a different way of cultivation. So, with that learning, it's the same with, I would say, CA practice. We all have enthusiasm. We all have, our own strengths. But that may not be sufficient for us to grow the practice. Before I begin, I wanted to do a quick survey. So all of you, I'm sure you have your mobile handsets. You can either scan the barcode or go to slido.com on your browsers and enter code 2253528. Uh, what I've tried to do is make an assessment of what is the size of your practice. So could you connect? Are you able to go live? The reason I'm doing this is trying to understand uh, the participation here so that I can pace my conversation with you guys accordingly. And what I've done is kind of segmented the question, whether you're part of proprietorship, less than 5 partners, less than 10 partners, less than 20 partners, or you're part of a large firm with more than 20 partners? Sorry? Sure. Everyone able to get that, or you could go to slido.com and enter the code 22535528. Sure. Are you able to log your poll? Okay. So we have approximately 59 votes. I'm believing there are roughly about 100 people present. So I will encourage everyone to vote. 64. But if you see the results as majority and almost equal to 50% of voters here voting today are proprietorship firms, part of proprietorship firms, running proprietorship firms. About 31% are less than 5 partners. And if you look at, about more than 5 partners, there are about, uh, you know, roughly about 20% who have more than 5 partners. So if we look at how our CA profession is structured, we still, want to play a solo sport. We are not, so enthusiastic about team sports yet. While we all love cricket, and we all know that how cricket is a team sport, but we still believe that sports is different from professional life, where we believe we can hit sixes only if we are by ourselves. I'll come back to what the current landscape, which impacts the CA profession is. We all know that over the last decade or so, clients' expectations from their chartered accountants have significantly gone up. They ask for a comprehensive advice or solution. So they're not coming to you for a particular task, but they need end-to-end solutions. They need answers for all their problems that they have. If they're doing a particular transaction or entering into a particular arrangement, they want you to advise them end to end, including what could be the tax aspects, what could be the accounting aspects, what could be FEMA issues, transfer pricing issues, GST aspects. So they're expecting a comprehensive advice or solution. The regulatory landscape has significantly evolved and continues to evolve rapidly. We've seen, the 1960s, though, I have my views on what changed. But GST came in. We've seen how, laws like RERA, etc., have evolved. And we are seeing constant changes happening as, the regulator also gains knowledge. They're trying to adapt to the changes in the environment, and there is rapidly evolving regulatory landscape. If we see with the help of technology, the regulator oversight has also increased. I'm sure we've all heard about how NFRA is also, kind of overseeing the CA profession, or more the audits, at least. If you look at technology, I think the pace of evolution of technology has gone up significantly. The evolution that happened in, 2000 2010 to 2022, DX of that evolution happened from 2022 to 2025, right? So the pace at which technology is changing is amazing, and the expectation is that we evolve with that. If we look at our profession, we are receiving serious competition from other professions, which include cost accountants, secretaries, lawyers, right? Mushrooming small firms. We've seen several boutique firms, small firms crop up, which focus on very, very specific and niche areas of practice. High quality work continues to be dominated by large firms. I'm sure you all agree. Significant shift of practice from compliance to consulting. And I think the expectation of both the professionals as well as clients is that we move from transaction to value creation. So with this, if we look at it, there are certain opportunity enablers which are triggering opportunity for chartered accountants and chartered accountants in practice. One, globalization. The markets have no barriers. You are not prohibited from reaching out to another geography or location, and technology has enabled it. Chartered accountants, the course, the curriculum, the training around it, the additional post-qualification courses, etc., the learning resources available have now helped chartered accountants expand their capabilities and their offerings to their clients. Easy access to technology. I think with the mobile penetration, I think, and the cheap cost of data in India has triggered a significant access to technology which is available at cheap costs to everyone. Talent has become more mobile, than it was earlier. People are ready to migrate. People are ready to work virtually, and technology has further enabled that. And search has become easy, or information is now readily available at fingertips. So with these enablers, trust me, if we take advantage of these, uh, we can definitely put our practice in higher gears. One more, I would say again a survey that I would like to do. What is your biggest challenge you encounter in growing your practice? You can again scan the barcode or go to slido.com, use the same code. This is the same barcode. Right? I'm putting this again, please, just in case. Write down in one or two words, what do you see the biggest challenge that you encounter in your practice or practices? What do you feel, whether it is talent, whether it is technology, whether it is regulation, whether it is client expectation, whether it is profitability? What do you see as biggest challenge? Getting a few themes. interesting insights, or I should say common challenges. Arif, this is the same challenge that I'm about 65 votes, 67. Most of it surrounding around the points that I made. Acquiring clients, right? How do I get new clients? How do I get new work? Staff retention, low fees, too much compliance. Great. What I did was I preempted some of these, and again, if we look at it, are these winning and building new client relationships from large firms who keep losing work to a larger firm? Narrow field of specialization, evolving technology, attracting and retaining talent, limited capital, quest for control, and maintaining a work-life balance. I was surprised not to see that in the result. So I think either we are happy and we are all having a work-life balance, or we are happy with what we have, no life or no work, right? But these are clearly all the challenges that any practice would typically encounter. I'm sure there are more, but I've listed the key challenges. And basis this, I kind of prepared few pillars for growth, and I'm going to touch upon these high level. Again, like I said, this is not comprehensive. This is not science. Uh, I have tried to put my learnings and my experiences in a more structured manner. That's what I've done. So, what are the pillars of growth? Acquiring clients, building competencies, collaboration, expanding your market or going to newer geographies, adopting technology, acquiring and retaining talent, efficient practice management. Surprised I did not see that. Apart from fees as one part, I didn't see practice management as a challenge. So I'm sure all of you are managing your practices efficiently and would be hardly spending, some time in practice management and majority of your time in client servicing, right? Compliance. This I did read as one of the bullets, right? So these are few pillars which I will focus on in the next few slides and share some of my experiences around these. Now, when we talk of client acquisition, uh, little do we understand that it's not a one-time process. It is a continuous process. You can't acquiring the client. If you acquire a new client, you need to make sure that you service that client well. Once you service that client well, you need to make sure you get feedback from the client. When you get the feedback, you make sure that you implement the learnings from the feedback. Once you get the feedback, you make sure that you remain in touch with the client. You remain in touch with the client, make sure the client refers you to other relationships of theirs. Once he refers you to other relationships, make sure he gives you more work, right? And again, when you deliver that work, deliver it good, again get a feedback. So it's a continuous process. Now, when we look at client, I mean, a lot of times I get a question that how do I look out for a new client? I mean, where do I start? There is no exact start point or not necessarily a correct start point. But what is important is a plan, is understanding of your market, understanding of your target market, and understanding of how you are going to reach them. So the first thing that you need to do is identify an opportunity. Opportunity could be a subject, could be a new issue, could be a trigger, could be an industry event that you attend, could be a new person who you met in the conference today. So keep an open eye for an opportunity. Once you identify what the opportunity is, systematically study, understand, investigate of what this opportunity means for you, holds for you, how much value can it bring to you. Running after every opportunity does not make sense. We have limited time at hand, right? For us, time is money. If you spend your time in items where it is not going to yield results, then you're wasting your time. So please understand your opportunity and spend significant amount of time in initially analyzing the opportunity. Once you are sure that one, this opportunity is sizable, it means significant value that I could bring or this could bring to my practice, then that opportunity is definitely worth pursuing, right? Just to give you an example, the new income tax law, right? This is a change, and I consider any change more than a disruption. I consider it as an opportunity, right? So the new income tax law was announced. Now, the first thing that I did was I understood that how big is this an opportunity for me? And I realized that number one, income tax applies to all my clients. Number two, it just doesn't apply to my clients, it applies to every corporate, every not for profit that is covered, every earning individual taxpayer, every HNI, right? Every foreign company doing business in India. So this is impacting a wide market. Now, can I reach out to every place? So what I did was I narrowed down my market. I identified what I would want to focus on and where I would want to build capability. And this could mean that I look at a narrow practice, but where I become a market leader, or I look at a wider practice which could bring me more clients and maybe equal opportunity for others as well. It's a choice to make, right? What do you prefer doing? I chose being a market leader in a narrow opportunity, right? So then I narrowed down my area of focus and I identified that how big is this a market size? When I said I want to focus and look at only, let's say, transfer pricing as an area, right? How big is this a market? There are about, more than 50,000 corporates who are complying to transfer pricing. Apart from that, there are a lot of foreign companies also who do this. Then I analyze that, okay, what does this mean? How do I assess the market size? Say 50,000 into an average fee per client for this transition, let's say, could be 5 lakh rupees. So that is how I estimated a market size. And then I decided to myself that what is the target that I want to achieve, or what is the market share that I want to achieve, right? So first thing is identify your opportunity and set your goals. Carve out what you want to focus on. Once you've identified, there are enough ways and means to get details about your target. There are databases, there are approaches, direct and indirect. When I say direct and indirect approach, what do I mean? Direct approach is, approaching your existing clients, the lowest hanging fruit, right? Your existing client can definitely give you more work. Do you spend time with your existing client to understand what are the other challenges that they have, whether they're consulting others and where you can support them? I'm just uh, putting all this, that when I'm saying all this, anything that you do, please make sure that you review it from an independence and conflict of interest perspective. That stands any kind of work that you're doing, uh, assurance, non-assurance. And that's where chartered accountants are respected, because of high trust that clients place on us, because of our ethics and creating any independence or conflict of interest issues. So when I look at my clients, I try to understand their pain areas. So instead of trying to convince them to give me work for what I know, I would rather understand what does the client need and can I provide that to client. So it's not selling what I have, but providing what the client needs. So please, when you meet your clients, understand their business very well. What are their business challenges? How can you help navigate them across their challenges? How does your expertise help? If not you, can you refer the client to someone who can help? And trust me, when a client, you refer the client to someone and client enjoys working with that person, he holds a very high regard for you, that you helped him connect and solve his problem. Focus on what the client needs. So your existing clients are the first source of approach. Now, outside of your existing clients, you have existing relationships where they are not your clients. How much time you spend thinking about them? Relationships which are not your clients, and how you can support them, or again, what do they need that you can support. So it's just structuring your thought process into buckets. I'm sure all of you do that, but systematic way of doing the same thing can give you a more refined and uh, I would say better output and outcome. The other thing is references. Now references means, like, you introduced an advisor to a client because the client needed something and you knew someone who could help, right? Similarly, those advisors should know your competencies, your strengths, to be able to refer clients to you, right? So references. Now what I did was, when I met with one of my clients. They had two around, IP. They were under a huge IP uh, litigation or issue. And what I did was I helped them connect with, one of the law firms who I know and has a very strong IP practice, and they were able to help them. What it did in turn was, number one, gave me brownie points with the client, but to give me brownie points even with the law firm, right? I continuously engaged with them, kept meeting them. During meeting them, understanding what kind of client profile do they have, and you know, times also mentioned how some of the issues or some of the unique engagements that I did and how it could apply to some of their client profiles. And they were very happy to introduce me to their clients as well. Similarly, when I met with a client, I did fantastic work with them. The client was very happy at the end of the engagement. Uh, it did not end there. I asked the client, great, fantastic, CFO of an MNC, uh, moved from another organization 2 years back. I asked him that, could you please make introductions to the CEO of the organization where you came from? I understand you're good friends with him. And that he did say that, okay, I'm sure, no harm to me, and I will make those introductions. That opened a new relationship for me. Apart from that, I also asked him that, you're part of a CFO forum where you meet with multiple CFOs. I'm sure some of them are very close to you or you exchange notes with them. Possible for you to make a couple of introductions. So I made a note to myself that every relationship has to introduce me to 3 new relationships. Fair ask, right? Imagine if I started with 20 relationships which I exhausted. Now each one introducing me to 3, I'm good for next 1 year. Those 60 I service well, and I further multiply. So references are one of the best form of direct approaches. Indirect approaches. Now, what are indirect approaches? We all, really, really undermine our capabilities around our technical strength and our just plus point, and the largest source of what could get us more work or help us acquire clients. So we all probably understand and believe in ourselves and our, but you know, do we do any thought leadership around it? We need to make sure that our strength, matter expertise, we create thought leadership around it. And by thought leadership, there are various mediums of thought leadership: writing articles, making presentations, leading a study circle. These are starting points. Once you start doing this, I'm sure there will be more avenues open to you. And currently, the digital world is so empowering. Putting, a expert lecture on your own YouTube channel, an analysis that you did for a specific case law, writing a note and putting it up on LinkedIn, right? Uh, these are amazing indirect avenues. So thought leadership, and I must acknowledge one person here uh, who really made a difference to me in early days of my career. When I was a fresh chartered accountant, I focused on, I picked up a very niche area, which was transfer pricing. Then in 2001, it was newly introduced subject, and very few firms outside of Big Four focused on transfer pricing. So I picked up that area, and you know, I went to Ketan Saiya, who was a senior in profession then, and he was also at helm of a chartered accountant forum. And he said, Jigar, why don't you come and give a lecture on transfer pricing at our CA forum? And it was the first time that I went on stage and shared, on a technical subject. Later on, I wrote several articles on transfer pricing, some of them uh, definitely on instructions and requests of Ketan Bhai. So all I'm saying is be a thought leader, focus around your subject, and I'm sure there will be opportunities that will come for you to showcase that. But creating visibility for yourself is in your hands, right? Uh, to Ketan Bhai, and I'm sure if any of you would like to speak, would like to write, please do reach out to him. And I'm sure he'll create the right opportunities for you to share your thoughts. Uh, Other forms of indirect approach, you know, attending conferences. This could be technical conferences. This could be industry forums where you understand in depth the business issues, and thus you are able to kind of bring out a solution on how you can contribute to those business issues or to help solving those business issues. You meet with people, you again share your thoughts with them. So this is again indirect way where you network with a lot of people. Now it doesn't end there. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you attended lots of conferences is not enough. Meeting people at that conferences, later on remaining in touch with them, and continuously exchanging some thoughts. Uh, what I do is, when I meet with people at the conferences earlier, there were physical cards which used to be exchanged. And after every 2, 3 people I meet, I go to the side and behind their card, write down what I discussed with them. Uh, you know, at a conference, typically I would end up meeting about 10 to 12 people in a day or sometimes even more. But then it would be difficult when you go back to your desk the next day. How do I connect? What did I discuss with that person? So I used to write that down and write a personalized email to them, uh, discussing or referring to what we discussed and sharing some article that I have read somewhere around the topic that we discussed or something that I had written. Make a point that I draw up a calendar. I used to maintain a simple Excel sheet, no fancy tool, where I used to write down the names and I had weeks mapped in columns. And then I used to put a tick that I need to connect with this person again in 4 weeks' time, in 3 months' time. So I used to put a calendar. And on that week of calendar, I would filter that this week I have to reconnect with these 6, 7 gentlemen whom I had met. Not that I could not connect with them in between. I definitely, if I had an opportunity, I would connect with them. But when I've not had the opportunity to connect, I make sure that I connect with them on that. So that helped me remain in touch with them. And a lot of times it's true, out of sight, out of mind. So, try to remain in their sight so that whenever there is an opportune requirement that they have, they could think of me. So simple things like remaining in touch are very, very important, because a lot of us attend conferences, but how many of us make sure that we remain in touch with all of them? Very few, right? Uh, The thing, like I said, is digital presence. I think with LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, there is enough now available for you to present yourself on the digital platform as put on a particular subject, sharing your thoughts, your views. Before you do that, uh, you know, uh, one kind of suggestion is do a very, 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 very thorough research before putting anything out. Before you write an article, whether you're presenting on a subject, whether you're putting a small clip on YouTube, you cannot have anything which is minutely incorrect. Otherwise, this can spoil your entire reputation, right? So spending time in that is really important. Now, I approach the client. Now, what is important? I met with him. There is a need that he has which I could cater to. Now, important is conversion. How do I convert that client? And there are several factors that play here. Trust me, it is never only fees. Fees is definitely one important aspect, but it is never only fees. It is about expertise. It is about your turnaround time, comprehensive nature of your advice. It is about how you could explain and express, right? It is about how you could communicate. It is about how you present yourself. There is there is no exact science on conversion, but one of the most important thing about conversion is, are you solving the problem of the client? And let's take an example of a simple income tax return that a client, a corporate wants to file. He reached out to you along with two other firms for a quote. Now, how do you convert this, right? This is a very generic thing. One, when a client has reached out for an income tax return, I would understand or try to understand or ask and inquire, what is his problem? Why is he changing from his current service provider to me? Right? The moment I get an answer, that's the first problem that I need to attack in my proposal. Correct? So solve a client's problem is the first, and the major area of conversion. Another, like I said, is how responsive you are, how proactive you are. A lot of clients expect a proactive client, somebody who thinks for them even before they could have thought about it. So when a new change occurs, do you reach out to the client that this is how it's going to impact you? Give it in bulleted forms. Don't need to give a detailed advice. Right? So how proactive are you? Very, very important to be proactive. How quick you are, how effective you are, and all this, you have a very limited window, and understand every opportunity could be different. Customize yourself to how much best impact you can create in that limited window that you have. And coming to fees, one of the things that I read, fees is a challenge, increasing pressure on fees. So, and at one point where client puts us in the to reduce fees, at other points, the staff is asking for heavy increments and high salaries. What happens to the margins or profitability? Right? You're pressure from both sides. No, I think this is where change is required in our thought process. Number one, peg the right value to your service and understand that what is the right value. If the client is not value the work or the value that you are bringing, at some point, I may let the client go. In some cases where I feel no, this client, while this engagement, I will not make good fee, but this client has a larger potential. So I would make that investment on fee in that. At the same time, where I have a lower fee, I will make sure that I deliver more effectively by, you know, doing smart work, by using technology, by bringing in efficiency, by understanding that the client doesn't need a detailed 200 pager report. Maybe a 2 slide presentation with key areas of focus is enough for him. Right? So understand and try to make your economics work. We are all experts in drawing up cost sheets. Here the idea is to draw reverse. This is my revenue. This should be my cost. Now, how do I fit it into my cost? Right? That's how. In cases, we miss accounting for opportunity costs. Most important case. Right? So conversion, again, no rocket science. I'm sure you all have your techniques, your skills, your strengths. Work on them to convert your clients. Exceptional client service. This is the most important piece of any client journey. Exceptional client service. Give the best to your client, independent of whether it is a large client, whether it is a small client. This is the ethos that I have for myself. I won't differentiate a client based on fees. Every client is important to me. Once I have taken my best, exceptional client service. We don't learn this as chartered accountants. We are very lousy. We are not great at servicing our clients. I must mention, especially, I would say when we're a small firm, when we're growing, we don't have enough time. I would rather service lesser amounts of client and give them exceptionally served client. A happy client will definitely bring you more value in terms of more work and more references. Your spend on reaching out to the newer clients will reduce, and your revenues would go up. So exceptional client service is the key, and exceptional client service has many tentacles. I would say many cornerstones: quality, timeliness, communication, proactiveness, feedback mechanisms, good quality work, precise, accurate, various aspects, various cornerstones of what exceptional client service means. I don't think I need to uh, teach all of you what it means. Investing in clients, this is very, very important. How many of us invest in client? And I don't mean invest in their shares or give them loans. I mean, investing, for us, time is money, right? Investing our time in them, understanding their problem, helping them solve their problem, kind of helping them grow. What is their objective? Am I helping in their objective? Like a client is in a particular business. I'm doing a engagement for, say, a client, right? How that fintech, for them, the source of revenue is engagements. So they're a B2C. So, customers, can I bring them customers? Or can I connect them to banks who become their platform or who can adopt their platform? So this is not my expertise, but what I could do is, basis my relationship, basis a bank that I have worked with in the past, or basis some of the HNIs that I know can use their services. All I did was connected them. Now, it may or may not work, but at least that client felt that I thought about that client. I helped him in his objective. Right? So this is investing in clients. Invest in understanding them, invest in helping them. Not necessarily this could mean a monetary outcome for you. Relationship management. I say us as chartered accountants are very, very poor. Very, 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 very poor in relationship management. And learn this from, RMs that sure there must be, you probably have a portfolio where you have a broker that you work with, uh, let's say maybe a large broker, India Infoline, you have a relationship manager assigned to you. Does he speak to you regularly? He makes sure that he calls you up, he checks with you, he updates you on what is happening, what possible strategies are there, sending you emails of new research reports, right? We need to learn from them. And maybe I would actually engage one of them to work with me while he does not have domain expertise, but I can learn his skills. Or maybe I can take him in my team and use him appropriately, right? Very, very important. And finally, references. I think I've spoken enough about how references can help. So there are many more points, but client acquisition is through repeated continuous efforts, right? And while there is a team which is doing execution, most of our role is towards this. So this is where you should be spending about 50% of your time. If you're not doing that, that means you're stifling your own growth, the growth of your practice, right? Now, according to me, like I said, exceptional client service is one of the most important thing when I'm talking of a client relationship. Competency is one of the most important things that we need to develop, right? And this is where our strength lies. If we build competencies, I am sure, you know, uh, clients will come, business will come, growth will come. Most important is building competency. So one, I think we all need to overcome the fear of change. I built competency on transfer pricing 20 years back. Now, is it still relevant? New areas have come which have larger opportunities. Can I learn, or do I still focus on what I've learned in past? I have to assess that and I have to overcome the fear of change. Ideate, identify, and evaluate any new area, any new idea. Please evaluate it thoroughly. So ideate what are the newer avenues, identify, list them, and then evaluate them thoroughly. Build versus acquire. I think this is again something which us as chartered accountants have, always, or rather never learned, and we've always thought that building is the only way to develop competencies. That I read myself and I build competency. Of course, yes. But another way to acquire, to build competency is to acquire. And by acquire means hire people who know more than you, partner with people who know more than you in a particular area, right? It is their competency that they have built over years, like you have built your competency. Collaborate with them, right? That's build versus acquire. Not necessarily one is right over the other, but situation to situation, this could change. Depth versus breadth. Another challenge that, should I build competencies across a breadth of areas? In my practice, I should build competency around audit, income tax, EST, FEMA. Now, when you spread yourself thin, how deep can you go in any particular subject, right? Not really deep. So whether to become jack of all or master of one is a choice that we all need to make. So depth versus breadth. Now, there is no one right answer in this, and it really depends on what kind of organization that you're creating. If you are at the helm, a breadth is really, really important. But at the same time, then you need to have teams who have the depth to help supplement and support you, right? But if you are a sole proprietor, then can you have a breadth and not have the depth? Answer is no. Then in that case, my choice would be depth rather than breadth. Be thorough. I have said this earlier and saying it again. There is no excuse. Never be unprepared. Whatever you do, be 100% thorough. And I expect the same from my team. Uh, if somebody is not thorough, I send them back, tell them that please prepare and come back. And the next time they're before me, they are super thorough, right? So expect and create that culture of being thorough. Don't accept big work. The new generation, when I ask them to do research on technical subject, they will go to Google, they will open the first link, read the first positive case law, show me, sir, see, we have a positive case law, right? That's not how we do research, right? How did we do our income tax research? I first went to the master guide, right? Looked at what was in there. Then I went to the commentary. I went to databases where I did, positive research, negative research. Then I did forward search, backward search. So our search and our research used to be thorough and comprehensive. And we need to imbibe the same culture in our team. Being thorough, no excuse here. Invest to harvest. If I'm expecting returns, I will need to invest. Invest in terms of time, invest in terms of money, invest in terms of hard work. Nothing new that I'm saying here. Training and improvising. Continuous training and continuous improvising. Uh, Only perfection can't be improved, but the moment we reach that, I think it's time to move on to something new. So continuously train and improve. Identify, always look at what are the shortcomings that you need to improve on. Which areas do you need to work more thoroughly on? Timing is the key. I think never enough. Doing things in the right way is important, but equally and more important is doing it at the right time. When do I hire the right people? When do I go to the client for a particular meeting? All this needs to be thought through. What is the right time? Creating a culture of learning. I think imbibe this in your team. I make sure that the first half an hour that my team comes to office, every day a reading material is assigned to them. And this is over a period as the team grew. I put this as a culture and as a KRA, and every manager also assigns a 30-minute reading material to a junior. It could be basis a certain design, basis a certain objective that we want to achieve for a particular week or a month. But I give them that time, that this is where we create a culture of learning. And trust me, these people, when they went out to other organizations, they continued to follow this, right? I made sure that I tell each and every one, for 30 minutes reading Economic Times, at least 30 minutes every day. This will not only create learning, but also create awareness about what is happening around, right? Mentor to succeed. So sharing your knowledge doesn't end there. If you learn something new, teach it to others, and that way your learning will multiply. It will reach out to more people, more success, not just for you, but for others as well. Now, here is where the first poll that we had: 50% sole proprietors. Are we collaborating enough? Right? I think most of us agree that collaboration is a key to growth. Alone, I can do only so much, but together, we can do much more. Correct? But the challenge in collaboration is how do we make it work? Whenever I'm with someone, how do we make sure that this partnership works? That he does not cheat on me. That together we are complementing each other. That bring growth, right? So I've listed down the 10 commandments of collaboration that I have learned. Of course, there could be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 also. But the 10 commandments or 10 C's of collaboration. The most important one: start the common objective, define, spend time to define what is your common objective. It could be as simple as making 100 crore practice, right? Very simple statement, but are we both aligning on that objective first? Or it could be building the number one private client service firm in India. If you both align on a common objective, that's the first step. Second, in any kind of collaboration, clarity is very, very important. Be very clear with each other on every aspect, be it the role or responsibility that you're going to have, the revenues or the profits that you're going to share, the teams that you're going to work on, the clients that you're going to work on, the competencies that you're going to build. The more clarity you have, the lesser chances of any kind of disagreements. Right? Compartmentalize. That is, divide your responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. Who's going to focus on what? Who's going to do what? Apart from your subject matter expertise, there are practice management areas which require enough attention, failing which our practice growth suffers. So who's going to look at, let's say, finance? Who's going to look at compliance? Who's going to look at office administration? Who's going to look at talent acquisition? Who's going to look at, creating a network? Right? So compartmentalize as much as possible. Communicate. This is, I don't know if I was given a bigger slide, I would put C for communication in the whole slide. This is the most important C for any collaboration. Constant communication on important topics, on key topics, on smaller topics. The more you communicate, the better you could collaborate. So spend time, communicate. Communication will help build trust. Communication will help you categorize or compartment. What is in your brain, if that is down there, outspoken, discussed, agreed, written, communicated, becomes more clear. Collective growth. Don't be selfish. Collaboration should be towards collective growth. Look at mutual benefit. Not only you should grow, but collectively how all could grow. So think about that. Focus on that. Confidence and trust. Build that trust amongst your team, amongst your partner, amongst your collaborators. Collaboration could be loose, collaboration could be in form of partnership, collaboration could be with your teams. Collaboration could be at multiple levels, but very, very important that build confidence and trust the person that you're collaborating with. Consultative approach. Never have an approach which is authoritative. Consultative approach always works best in collaboration. Otherwise, you're more like a dictator. We all know the political situation. I don't need to say more, right? Consistency in approach. Now, this is also very, very important. Don't change too often the way you set things. Don't change your goals too often, right? Give it enough time. Be consistent in the way you deal with things. Build that consistency in things that you do with your partner does with you. Build a consistency in approaching to any decision making exercise. Candid and fair. Be transparent, be fair. And this have a mechanism to resolve conflict, because in any kind of collaboration there are bounds to be conflict, but agree or have a mechanism on how you will resolve conflicts or disputes internally, right? So I'm sure there are many more C, D, E, F, G, H, many alphabets that I could put, but again, it. The story about the firm that I worked with and how we grew from 6 to 10,000 people is, we built a collaborative practice. We built a firm with more than 200 partners, right? Only then we could do so large, right? And each one had their focused area of practice. Each one of them had added responsibility, which was very well categorized. We had our code of conduct in a very, very thorough and detailed manner. We elaborated situations, we elaborated what our objective is, what our common collective goal is, right? We have this on how, ownership and management independence could be created. We have of partners, who take decisions. We have a process outlined on what decisions could be made at what level. So all this could not be made overnight. It was made over a period. But growth can come only when you collaborate, right? A bigger team can bring bigger success. I'll pause here, just in case any one of you has any questions. I'm sure what I'm saying is nothing new. Most of you would already know. Again, just trying to put it in slightly structured and interesting, uh, you know, uh, photo that I came across and I put it here. We've seen this in our childhoods. I don't know if you remember that machli, a group of machlis came together. The bigger fish thought that it's a fish which is bigger than me and it ran away, right? That's the power of collaboration. Expanding geographies, I think we are all, currently restrained. And when I think of, how do I acquire clients? I stay in a city where I am. Beyond this, how can I get a client? And I've just put some thoughts. Set up a branch, depute people there, get a partner to work with you in a different city, in a different country, right? Build partnerships, uh, collaborate in terms of, I would say, references that I have. Other firm has the expertise in other subject, and we collaborate to agree that we will introduce clients to each but in some other manner. Network, uh, you know, networking guidelines, CA firms networks also have been approved by the ICAI. But apart from that, if you look at the large firms, what are these? These are nothing but networks, right? And outside of the big four, there are other networks also. Big six, beyond big six also there are networks. Some that you've heard of, some that you've not heard of, right? So do research, find out how these networks work. Could you be part of one of these networks? How do you benefit from becoming part of the network? How could you contribute to the network? I think one thing we all miss is we always expect what I will get. We never think of what I can give. The moment we think of what I can give and I take the first step of giving, I'm sure there will be reciprocation. Travel. Don't be afraid of spending time and money on traveling to a newer location, maybe to attend a conference, maybe the prospect, maybe to visit a client, maybe to visit a relative who could introduce you to clients, right? Recruiting in another geographies. Now, this is what COVID has really taught us. You don't need to be present in one location, right? We could work remotely. So our firm, we recruited people even where we did not have offices. Now, those people, and I could then proudly say that, I have teams sitting out of this city as well. So if there is a client, he knows that, he could be serviced locally and there is a team sitting out there, even if I don't have office. And digital expansion. How many of us have thought about this? What is digital expansion? Virtual office. Think of what technology could do to your presence. I mean, I'm just triggering a thought. Virtual office, having, remote presence, video conferencing. What is this? Digital presence, right? Focus on creating a presence in a particular market, geography, industry, whatever you define, and have a strategy on how you could create a digital presence there. Consult experts in this field. So these are just a few thoughts. There could be more ways of expanding in geographies. Anyone would like to share any experience, any additional thought, please feel free. Otherwise, I feel it's more like a monologue. ये क्या बोल रहे हैं तो सब मालूम है मेरे को. Please.
Sir, you told about this networks. Like we know that Deloitte, KPMG, these are all networks. KPMG, maybe it's a Swiss variant basically, and all the member firms are associated with that Swiss variant. Similarly, Deloitte, PwC, NY, and Grant Thornton, BDO, Nexia, RSM. But beyond that, there are smaller networks also. Maybe I can say Moore Stephens, now it has become a very big MSI. But is there any advantage of becoming a part of a smaller networks? Because I think most of these big networks already have presence in India, like BDO has a presence in India, RSM has that. Now there might be some very small networks. So do you think, sir, that is there any benefit in becoming a part of those networks? Because these networks are basically from Europe or America, and their fees, when we say it's in a huge in the dollars, basically, like we have that tradition of this multiplication by 87. So do you think that is there any benefit? And if yes, so how can we find such a networks basically?
So I will answer your second question first. How can I find?
Sir, just want to add that people are enjoying here. Whatever you are talking, there is no monologue or kind of. People are who is about to merge their firm. People are from Baroda. Please continue.
Thank you, Virat. Sorry, to answer your second question first, how to find out? I don't need to teach you. The data is available at fingertips. Google it out and connect to their websites, find more details, understand their application process. There are email IDs given there. Write to that, ask questions, etc. So finding out is not a difficult job. You can also ask your article. He can do a decent job out of it. Second, is there a benefit? I think there is benefit in any form of collaboration. It is up to us on what we extract out of that collaboration, what we want out of that collaboration, and how much are we willing to invest in that collaboration. So, like you said, there are enough number of smaller networks who may have small presence in India or only a regional presence in India or no presence in India. What could you gain out of it? One, network could give, apart from direct referring or an opportunity, it could give you a collective knowledge, right? A research done by someone could be easily available to you as part of that network. There are some common things that they would have developed in terms of SOPs, in terms of guidelines, in terms of presentations, in terms of research material. So you are saving time on doing all that by yourself. Part of another benefit of being part of a network. Third, they would have already experienced certain things, like, for example, before India introduced GST, Malaysia had already introduced GST. So, learnings from there were applied by us here in India when we were implementing GST, right? So, sharing, learning, technology, in some of these networks, they collectively develop certain tools which could help members. So a lot of times I think what we do is we get impatient. In anything that we invest in, always have patience. Second, be clear on the objective that you want to achieve. Third, make sure that you give enough or you make enough efforts. Don't expect everything to fall into your lap. मैं नेटवर्क का पार्ट बन गया बट मेरे को तो कुछ बेनिफिट नहीं हो रहा है. What have you done? Have you enough invested? Did you make an outreach? Did you start knowing people? Did you try to understand what they've done? Did you try to understand what kind of clients do they have? How much do you communicate with them? So all the principles of collaboration apply for a network. And trust me, big or small, networks have their own benefits. Right? I don't know if I've appropriately answered. I think, this is one word, technology, that fascinates me. And I'm a big tech enthusiast personally, and I would encourage everyone, to do so. Invest time in understanding tech. Invest time, invest money in, implementing or acquiring or implementing technology, or building, even if that is the case. But trust me, tech can do wonders. Tech can do what humans cannot do. Tech can supplement what humans can do, right? Uh, and I go through some pillars of tech, which or a CA firm, where we could look at deploying technology, and there are multiple technologies. Digitization. What is digitization? Converting manual processes, manual records to digital form. First step of getting into technology is digitization. Automation. Anything that is being done manually, if it is repetitive in nature, if it is standard in nature, it can be automated. Integration. Make sure that while I think we get very excited about use of technology and how it could simplify our life, it could also complicate our life. And that's where when we are deploying different tools for different purposes and which are not integrated, then an added responsibility of reconciliations, comparisons, right? All that can come. So when you are evaluating a technology, evaluate it in forms of, is it integrated or possibility to integrate with other technology that I have or have deployed. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next time we can have one whole detailed lecture just on AI or ML, and I'm sure that also won't, how AI and ML can be implemented by chartered accountants in their practice. So I'm there is CA Institute has a course on AI and ML. I would encourage everyone to enroll for that as well. But apart from that, there is enough resources available to read on internet, enough videos available for us to understand what AI is, what AI could do. And once you start thinking, imagining of how it could apply in your domain. So AI and ML, machine learning, transformative, sorry, this is future. And I was at a conference where I was asked that whether AI will take away your job, and my answer was no. AI will not take away my job, but the person using AI will take away my job. So if you don't start using AI, you are endangered. Understand, and AI has gone to a different level. We are talking of agentic AIs, which do very, very specific focused work, which is relevant for our practices as well. Understand and invest in this. Cloud-based technologies. This is, growing, and this doesn't need infrastructure. This could be accessed from portals. We looked at Slido. What was that? That was a cloud platform, right? All of you could access it from your devices. You didn't need large computers to access it, or you don't need large computing powers. These are hosted on some remote servers, and internet connectivity has, and the bandwidth that is available has changed everything. So cloud technology bound to be the future in everything. Instead of local desktop applications, I think most of us would have used Tally, right? How Tally started with a desktop installation and has now moved to a cloud ERP, right? That's the future. Data privacy and security. Whenever we are looking at implementing technology, please make sure that we investigate enough and apply with the requirements and data security and privacy, right? India is implementing the DPDP law. Other geographies already have the law. But apart from that, there is cyber security that we all need to be mindful about. When we are talking of cloud technology, internet, there are enough cyber frauds that are happening, cyber thefts that are happening, data thefts that are happening. So, cyber attacks that are happening. when we use technology, we appropriately pay attention to this part. When we are, kind of identifying or adopting of it, that whether this technology is modular or not. Modular means can be implemented in a phased manner, or could do different things, or can be separated, or only one part can be used and other need not be used. So think that whether it is modular or not. Do the opportunity costing. Very, very important piece. When evaluating technology, don't look at cost. Look at the opportunity cost. If you don't deploy this technology, what is the cost that you're paying? What is the business that you're losing? What is the manual cost that you're incurring because you've not deployed technology? And constant evaluation. Tech world is changing very fast. What is implemented today may change tomorrow. So keep an open eye and you have deployed technologies that are available in market, technologies that are relevant for your role, and as your role, your firm evolves, your need for technology will also evolve. So do this diligently. One of the most sensitive areas, talent acquisition, was also one of the major points in the cloud survey that we did, and that came out next to client acquisition. There is no best way of doing it, but there are certain principles that we must follow while recruiting and also don't treat talent as your servant. Talent is your boss. Talent is your stakeholders, just like your clients, just like your investors. So stop undervaluing talent. At the same time, screen it very well. So offer competitive compensation. I don't need to say more over here, and I'm sure every one of you is saying that a fresh chartered accountant is asking for 10 lakh rupees. How can I pay him 10 lakh rupees when he has no experience? Right? Train him, invest in him, screen him well, judge his ability to learn, judge his ability to think. Don't screen him that he has no past experience, but screen him for what he could bring to you, what he could do to you, what that 10 lakhs. Don't be afraid. And this is one thing that my mentor taught me is invest. When you invest in your people, your practice will grow. So what it means is I built a team first, and then now that I have delivery capability, I don't need to spend time in delivery. I spend time in scratching my brain. How do I get work for them now? Right? That's how growth comes. Put the horse before the cart. Uh, don't be afraid to recruit good and expensive talent, but see how you can get the most value out of it. Create a positive and engaging work culture. This is very, very important. I have seen CEO offices where they treat articles like bonded labor. Trust me, not going to create a good branding for you, and not either are you creating a good culture for your firm that you can, if a good article would stay back with you lifelong. Right? So create a positive and engaging work culture, invest in people, have a defined and a clear career path for your team. Uh, Discuss with them, spend time. What do they want to do? How you can help them in achieving their career goals. It is by that is how you could bring growth. At some point in time, your article will your partner probably bringing you more revenue than you could bring. So don't forget the potential. uh, Give enough or create enough learning opportunities for them: direct learning, indirect learning, structured learning, unstructured learning, internal learning, external learning. It's all about learning. Initial years of career, where I'm sure all of us can say, "Are मैं जब भी young था and when I used to work for my firm, I was not given all this opportunity, but the world has evolved since then." I used to put myself and was eager to learn. I used to, at my own cost, enroll in seminars, go to study circles. World has evolved since then. Talent has now more demand. Continuous training. Uh, we mentioned this earlier as well. Employee referrals. Encourage employee referrals. A good employee can get, like a good client can refer you three other good clients. One good employee can refer you three good employees, prospective employees. So create a referral program, compensate them for a good work that they've done, reward them, right? Counseling and mentoring. This is also a differentiator in firm A and firm B, who work on the same clients, who probably are of the same size, but which firm will grow faster? The one where the employees are counseled and mentored, or the one where everybody focuses on just doing work, right? Trust, empower, and recognize. Soft things, but go a long way in building a culture. Build a culture of trust. Trust your people. Don't necessarily always need to doubt them. Put systems and processes in place. Put checks and balances in place. Have exception based questioning. But trust them, empower them, let them take up. Wouldn't want to. First thing that, when I was struggling, years of my career, my mentor taught me is, Jigar, how will you grow? I said, I will grow when I step into the shoes of my senior, right? How will you step into the shoes of your senior? I will need to understand by doing that myself. How will you understand self? Create time. How will you create time? By doing, or by delegating, or by giving the work to someone else that you are currently doing. Now that equally applies to the junior. If your senior, or you expect your senior to trust you and give you work, you should also trust your junior and give him work. And that's how you will free up your time to take up your senior's responsibility. And when everyone does this, that's when an organization grows, right? So trust, empower, and also recognize. If somebody is doing good, make sure you appreciate, formally, informally, monetarily, non-monetarily. Recognition goes a long way in employee confidence, and especially in the current generation, it is very, very important to them. Apart from money, employer branding, create an employer branding. You know, very, very important for you to attract, or whenever there is a attrition, replace, how will you get more people to join you is when you have that employer branding. Arey, ye firm, this is the best firm to work with. Your people who are leaving, they become your brand ambassadors. The people that are working for you talk out that अरे यार मेरे फर्म में तो मालूम है ऐसा ऐसा होता है. This is something fantastic that we enjoy, right? So create a good place to work, create that employer branding. Very, very important for you to attract. And there are people who, you know, kind of give away on, you know, somebody who's paying them higher to work with an environment or a place which is friendly and not hostile, right? Periodic feedback and appraisal, very, very important that you implement not just an annual appraisal, but periodic feedback. And feedback works both ways, downward as well as upward. So 360-degree feedback, very, very important. Peer-to-peer, upwards, downwards. Every form of feedback mechanism. And periodically, not at the year end when you want to see how not to give a bonus. Right? I would rather do appraisal and see how I can give more bonus. What will that do? That will encourage, that will create an employer branding that will also think that, okay, you know, I've been paid, now I need to justify what I've been paid for, right? Build efficiency to recover investments. Now, all the points that I said above were all means additional investment, additional cost. How can I recover? By building efficiency. If the same person, by using technology, can deliver more work, brings efficiency, right? So, you know, it's a myth that talent is expensive, but it's not true that talent is cheap. Getting the right talent is important, and for that, there are various things that you need to do. So don't be afraid in paying good salary, because if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, and that's, you know, truth. And then you suffer. You end up doing the work of your junior, so you are spending less time in client servicing or in client acquisition. That's why your top line is not growing. So I would rather focus on growing top line than worrying about, you know, how my cost is. I'm sure some of you disagree, but at the same time, I'm just putting across my thought, and I believe always that talent is something, talent, and we are going, of course, technology management. I think, you know, this is where we spend a lot of time, but are we efficient here? So, you know, there are various tools, technologies. Are we using them in our practices for team and time management, for document management, approvals and workflows, or assigning tasks or work, for vendor management, financial management, MIS, compliance, communication, independence and conflict management. So the various tools available in market. There are some comprehensive solutions also, some which do a lot of this in connected ways. There are ERPs who could help in most of these, but invest in this because that will help free up a lot of your time. And like I said, when you free up your time, you could focus on growing the top line. Build processes and controls, very, very important when you are smaller organization, you're growing. If you build processes and control there, when you grow, it automatically evolves, grows. But if you don't put them now, when you grow, it will be very difficult to implement it at that point in time. Effective delegation, I spoke about it earlier, how delegation can help, but it is more important that delegation is effective and it's not really relegation. What do you mean by effective delegation? Timely delegation, appropriate instructions, enough empowerment, appropriate accountability, a mechanism to report back, and ownership, transfer of ownership, as well as recognition and reward. So delegation is very, very important. Defined roles and responsibilities. I think this is where, uh, you know, we spend a lot of time in goal setting at beginning of the year and then in the middle of the year reviewing or revisiting our goals. We define common goals, and then there are firm level goals, then there are practice level goals, location level goals, team level goals, partner level goals, within partner manager level goals, and individual level goals. So this goal setting exercise is really, really important. Discipline in billing and collection. I think this is where most of us, probably lacks. And sure, most of us will admit it that we don't do a good job out here. If we do this well, uh, trust me, a lot can improve of our working capital management, how I could be more efficient in my financing and invest in building newer practices or onboarding newer competencies or paying higher salaries as well, right? Uh, so please do not hesitate in this. Have appropriate terms and conditions agreed with your clients. Bill them in a timely manner and make sure that you have these in a timely manner. A simple phone call from you can also make a large difference, right? So religiously, what I used to do is every Tuesday morning, a 2-hour review of my billing and collections. Right? How much is unbilled? What is the status? Why is it not got billed yet? What is the hang up? Trying to resolve that, put that in place. And bill, how soon can I collect it? What is the maximum credit period I'm agreeing with a client? Why is the client not paying up? Is there a risk of a bad debt? So diligently spending 2 hours Tuesday morning, uh, when I was running a size of a practice without fail. Tuesday, a lot of people fast, so that is become a routine. Put this also as a routine. Transparency, I think, when you're building a larger practice, building a system process of how what information is shared is very, very important. Transparency doesn't mean opening up everything, but the right amount of transparency to the right people or the right stakeholders is very, very important. Periodic check-ins. Periodic check-ins means questioning yourself periodically that in this particular aspect, am I doing well? Am I doing it right? And withdrawal versus reinvestment. When I'm a partner, very, very relevant, to the, I would say that 20% where there were more than 5 partner groups. How much do we withdraw and how much do we reinvest in the practice? There is no right answer, but there is a right balance that you'll have to find. What is the opportunity cost what is the cost of capital. These are economic terms that we've learned in books, but it is really, really helpful when we implement in practice. And compliance, I don't think I need to say more. Make sure that you build a culture of compliance at your firm. Make sure compliance is taken very, very seriously. There are no non-compliances. What it helps is it helps you build trust and credibility among stakeholders. Stakeholders include your employees, the government, your partners, your team members, everyone. So there are enough and many, and I'll tell you as simple as if you use Power BI. So Power BI is a very powerful reporting tool. So it really depends on what your underlying systems are. It could also be simple Excel with appropriate macros, etc. But if you're using an ERP, most of the ERPs come appropriately built with MIS, which includes dashboards and reports. But you could define what you need in an MIS. Am I looking at revenue? Am I looking at growth? Am I looking at profitability? Am I looking at efficiency? Am I looking at time spent by team, idle time? So define those elements very well, and then where will the data come from, and how will the data come? And there are a few tools, CA practice management tools available in the market. Some of them Institute had distributed in past are available in Institute library. A lot of it available on internet. You look at things like, there are cloud-based ERPs, name it Tally, Zoho. There are so many of them which have different modules, and thus your MIS can flow. They have HRMS, they have billing collection, they have accounting, they have client CRM. So various modules decide what is important for you, what is relevant for you, and start implementing it. Start investing in this. Very, very important. So I was on compliance. Compliance costs, but non-compliance is more expensive. I'm sure this dialogue we quote to our clients, but equally applies to us. It impacts reputation, and ensure that independence and conflict management is never compromised. As a chartered accountant, this is very, very important for us. And all this, while whatever I said, it's a continuous journey. Plan, execute your plans, review how you performed, how you've executed, make changes, recalibrate, again, plan, right? It's a continuous exercise. How frequent, how much is all dependent on what you want to achieve, what is right for you, what you agree with your stakeholders, with your collaborators. Generally, everyone does this is an annual manner, but I would say this is more continuous than annual, right? And I'll end with this, small video which always hit me.
किसी महापुरुष ने कहा है कि कामयाब होने के लिए नहीं, काबिल होने के लिए पढ़ो. सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो. एक्सेलेंस का पीछा करो. सक्सेस मार्केट तुम्हारे पीछे आएगी.
Could you hear the audio? Right? Chase excellence and success will follow. Right?
किसी महापुरुष ने कहा है.
That's me. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Happy if you have any questions. And apologies if I have offended anyone, if I said something which was not in agreement with what you said, and something which most of you already knew, but reinforcing that was a job given to me, and I tried to do my best at that. Thank you so much. Are we in time?
Any questions? We have 5 minutes.
All the things, if you noticed in my presentation, I used QR codes. And what did I do by using this last QR code? Networking, right? It's my LinkedIn page. You can connect with me. So these are smaller things which you could do yourself. Yes.
So thank you so much, sir.